Muri Zimbabwe hazvina kumira zvakanaka, zviri kunzi izvoni chabvondoka, apo patiri kuona mauto ari kunzi atumira tsamba kuna vachiwenga achitaura kuti muri kuona here zviri kuitika mubato renyu reZANU-PF. Patiri kuona financial weZANU-PF uyo anonzi Tagwirei, uyo asingatodiwi mupati navachiwenga, uyo ari kunzi ari kukonzeresa mhirizhonga nemheremhere pamwe chete mabribari nezvimwe zvakasiyana siyana. Hori mupati yeZANU-PF yapoindwa, asi zviri kunzi ami yataura kuti ektai vachiwenga tiite plani nekubvisa munhu uyo. Ndo nyaya yatiri kutambira pano muri Zimbabwe. Zvinhu hazvina kumira zvakanaka, zvinhu hazvina kugadzikana. Naizvozvo tauya kuti tinge tichikonisai nekuti Tagwirei akanga achitaurwa neZANU-PF nevamwe zvigananda zviri mukati motaura kuti ndiye akabatsira 2008 zvikanzi ndiye zvekare akabatsira 2017 akaisa mari kuti vaMugabe vanga achibviswa. Saka zviri kunzi anofanira kunge achiwana chigaro, asi maitikiro azviri kuita zviri kuratidza kuti vakusideline VP Chiwenga. Izvo zvinova zviri zvinhu zvakonzeresa kuti munge muine bongozozo ratazonzwa kunzi mauto ari kunyora mamessages. Vakomana vechidiki vari kunyora mamessages kuna vachiwenga vachishevedzera kuti mukuru ektai tibvise munhu uyu, itai plani, chingotaurai tibva tabvisa munhu uyu. So ndo mamiriro azvakaita. Tinokutendai mose nekuteerera kwenyu. Tinokurudzira vatsva kuti musubscribe. Tichakusiyai makateerera kubva kumakomureti.
Right. Thank you very much. I do appreciate it. Right. Can I bring in Muzvina? Muzvina, please, come through.
Hi, thank you very much, Uncle Gerard. Thank you, Tim. Sorry, I joined in slightly later. But I can take a lot of questions if anyone wants to ask. I am in the pharmaceutical industry. I'm a pharmacist by profession. I can confirm there is a big challenge in terms of drugs in Zimbabwe. I will speak about Zimbabwe especially. There is a huge challenge in Zimbabwe concerning drugs. Which drugs are we talking about? So they're generally illicit drugs. There are some drugs that are being manufactured locally, which are usually brews, alcohol, which is not registered in Zim. There is unregistered medicine. So we are saying Zimbabwe is a regulatory body which registers certain medicine. So when a medicine finds its way into Zimbabwe without passing through the Medicine Control Authority, it becomes an unregistered medicine. Then there is a lesser extent of prescription medicines. What is generally causing it? This is my personal view. Escape from reality. So you see a lot of youth, a lot of people in Zimbabwe want something that quickly escapes them from the reality. General idleness. A lot of people have nothing to do. Whether you are rich or you are poor, if you are generally idle and doing nothing, you tend to be hooked into these activities. Peer pressure. There is a lot around peer pressure and word of mouth. Generally, when you have one singer singing about a particular medicine containing either cough syrup containing medicine, you see a lot of younger kids wanting to try that. Mental health issues. The level of mental health in Zimbabwe is huge. We might not talk of the actual people who are kutorwara pfungwa, but in general, because of all these things around the general population, you see there is a big challenge. Then economic and social challenges are also part of them. Who is fueling it? My general observation is it has become a business in Zimbabwe. Many are actually either manufacturing, bringing it, importing it for selling, whether politically connected or not, but it's generally perceived as a business. Then the issue around open borders, we have been wanting a lot about open borders, bringing investors, bringing people. You see, newer molecules are coming into the country, newer drugs are coming into the country. So you see a lot of this is happening. Corruption and political interference is one of the biggest issues where you see a lot of things come through even formal borders. but it's never confiscated. Mental health is also is also fueling it. That's why I was saying there is really need of research around there. Which drugs are coming in Zimbabwe? So you see, every now and then there are newer molecules that are coming. We have revised the laws in Zimbabwe to include certain molecules because back then, like a year ago, anything that was not in the law, even if you were caught with it, you will not be sentenced because it was not indicated in there. So generally, because there is a finite names of the medicines or of the drugs, any newer derivative of that, a person can actually fail to be convicted. Truth is also, for example, mumalaws medu makaiswa kunzi crystal meth, kabatwa inayo unosungwa. But any a derivative of crystal meth, you could not be arrested or you could not be convicted. So a lot went out of kusasungwa because of those challenges. Um, in the pharmaceutical industry, a lot of medicine has been recategorized, meaning we have changed its accessibility because we're seeing those challenges. So you see, very little, I didn't want to say particular medicine, but medicine containing drugs of that can be abused have been recategorized so that it becomes difficult to quickly access it. This includes cough mixtures, painkillers, and so on. You need a prescription, you need a well written prescription, you need a confirmation from the doc to get some of these things. But you see, some the addiction may start from treatment. Aritorapwa zvakanaka, apiwa painkiller, then they become hooked onto it, they then move to the next ones and so on and stuff.
Yeah, Mr.
Access. Yes. Then access to to our borders through rental VIPs. We suspect or we think one access ye VIP wasingasearch luggage wasingaiti zvakawanda, these diplomats and so on, some might be fueling this, but also because we now have a lot of porous borders throughout Zimbabwe, so you see a lot of these drugs coming in through there. My thinking, what do we need to do? We need to accept the reality and say this is a national challenge. And we need to bring in every expert in there. We need to change the laws that govern most of these things so that we'll be able to put stiffer penalties for those that will be abusing or those who be manufacturing or those that will be supplying. We need also to find things that youth can do. One of the things, if you observe, for example, in Harare, most of the recreational centers in Harare, whether it was a ground, whether it was a playground, and so on, have been converted to residential stands. You will see more and more young people just mingling around without doing anything. So it also challenges. Um, Rehabilitation is the way to go, but the challenge is we have very little or very few rehabs that are properly registered in the medical field. Many of them are just arungunganidza vanhu, treating them inhumanely, and once they release the person, hapana chaequipwa, hapana program yekusiya aiswa, they go back to the same wood, they go back to the same habit, they become hooked again. So you see, what we might need to do is to work on rehabilitation quite a lot, and rehabilitation which involves all the medical experts that are needed there: psychologists, mental health experts, nurses, doctors, pharmacists, to be part of the whole chain. But if anyone wants to ask any question around this, I can. Thank you very much, Mr. Gerard.
Right. Can I ask you a question, Yogoti? Can I go back to Muskana? I don't know what this man, Mataura Ninja, maybe I might have missed it if you spoke. Muskana, I want to go in the Petadine and it.
Methadone, yes,
I need
200,
154. 154.
204 vials of pethidine, yes.
Yes. Saka, for an individual, can an individual be in a position to be having that under their possession?
Okay, so to Sandatora Jaguti, this is an ideal in medicine that they are abusing. So they are the challenge. We are also waiting to see what the police will say. You can have it coming from outside Zimbabwe. It's an unregistered medicine in Zimbabwe. So
Right.
they can access pethidine from out of Zimbabwe, smuggle it into the country. That's one way of getting it. The second way is getting it through the formal systems. So the formal system is you, Uncle Gerard, you come, you get a prescription, a well-written prescription, you go to buy it from a registered pharmacy or a hospital, you can access it.
But what quantities though?
The challenge now is, I'm now speaking from a pharmacist perspective.
Mm-hmm.
In Zimbabwe, we don't have one single database that can monitor who is using what. So, Mr. Gerard, if you have access to a doc who can write you prescriptions, you can go to 20 different pharmacies and their databases are not linked. We won't
Ah.
know if you got 5 vials from this person, 5 from the other one, 5 from the other one, and so on. So if it is a legal one, if it's a registered one, that is likely they went from pharmacy to pharmacy, buying limited, for example, 10 vials until they reach 200. But
Wow.
we suspect this is an unregistered molecule coming from out of Zimbabwe.
So is it a controlled drug?
Pethidine is a controlled drug. It's in the same group with morphine, pethidine, fentanyl, and so on. It's a controlled drug in Zimbabwe. When you buy it from the supplier as a hospital, you actually write and sign that you have got it. When you give it to a client, you actually write and sign who you have given it to. And it needs a proper prescription. So you're likely to see that this is not coming from a pharmacy or wholesale in Zimbabwe because we can account for every vial per prescription. But to say who are the ultimate beneficiaries in terms of prescriptions, it is difficult. You can bring a prescription for your uncle. And if it is written and it is written by a doc, you call a doc, they confirm. There's no other way you can know whether it's for abuse or for actual treatment.
Right. There is when I was reading one of the I mean on the request, for remand, they said that the drugs were probably for a foreign market. How plausible is that? Could Mono can get those drugs in Zimbabwe and supply a foreign market?
It's possible, but the challenge is I was saying getting those quantities in Zimbabwean healthcare system
Right.
might be difficult because they are accounted for every vial. For example,
Uh-huh.
we actually have a quota system to say Zimbabwe should import pethidine, let's say, for example, 100,000 vials. We cannot import more than that. WHO will actually put a quota system, say you can't import more than this because of your population, disease burden, and so it's difficult to say they really want to supply, and also cost wise. Generally, medicine in Zimbabwe are more expensive.
Mhm.
But to say you got it from another market, especially countries north of Zimbabwe, I don't want to name them because they have poor regulatory systems. You can get medicine in a village, in a msika, in a basket, and so on. They might get them from there for use in Zimbabwe, yes. But to say they're
Right.
getting them in Zimbabwe to sell them outside,
Mm.
it's very unlikely because we don't manufacture any IV drugs in Zimbabwe. So everything that is injected into a patient in Zimbabwe is bought
Ah,
from out
right.
of Zimbabwe. We don't have any plant that manufactures anything for IV, including drips, including antibiotics for injection. So it would be expensive to say we've bought this medication from South Africa to Zimbabwe and you want to export it back to South Africa, it would be like twice expensive.
Right. So in terms of valuation, they said, this is valued at 204 US dollars. Is that an accurate, evaluation or
Yes, it's around $3, $2 a vial of pethidine. Cost
right.
wise.
Okay.
Cost wise. So if you just multiply it by 200, that's around that. And if they're using
That
a cost price, yes, that's a fair valuation.
right. Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Can I madam Vuza
Okay.
ngavunzazve?
Yeah, so maybe I'll just ask then. So could this young lady then be be innocent. When I say innocent, I mean that could she have got it from different, say, pharmacies or from different doctors and prescriptions? Could she lay that, that claim? For example, because you were saying she could possibly get it from different sources. If it's a prescription drug, say if she did have those prescription, is that something that she could get away with?
Yes, so who can keep medicines of that caliber? A pharmacist because they have a license to, a doctor because they have a license to, a patient because they have a valid prescription. So all that she needs to do is to produce copies or evidence that she got valid prescription for whatever pain, for whatever reason. So she can actually walk free. The quantities are not limited. There is no law that says you should keep not more than 300. No. It's not like I want to give them answers. No, I'm saying if she can prove that there was a genuine doctor that wrote those prescription for her pain, and pain is subjective. You can't say it's too much for the pain and so on. She can still walk free. But the challenge is, are
Mm.
they legally obtained in Zimbabwe and are they registered? That would be a different law that is going to be working on her to say you are now possessing unregistered medicine, distributing, or where did you get it, and so something like that. But you can still keep them. For example, terminally ill patients that are on painkillers for life, they can actually have it and be administered at their home by their care worker or by their doctor or their nurse.
Yeah, if I may ask, in Zimbabwe, pethidine, can it be prescribed and given at a pharmacy level to somebody?
Yes, pethidine, fentanyl, morphine, orals, and injectables can be kept by a
The,
pharmacist, can be dispensed by a pharmacist as long as there is a legal prescription.
so what I'm asking is the injectables. So in hospitals, this is if it's at a, let's say it's a walk-in place like a doctor's place, uh, this medication is controlled and it
Yes.
needs co-signing. It needs co-signing, right? Whoever is going to pull it from the locked cabinet is going to have somebody to sign it for it. So in most cases, from what I don't know Zimbabwe, this medication is not going to be given to a person to go and use it. It has to be administered by somebody who is trained to administer it. So what my worry is, my question is bordering on a pharmacy can just I can just come with a prescription of my let's say my dad who and get this medication and take it home and that's it.
Yes, so to respond to you, as I had said, there are three people that can keep legally. And a pharmacist, a doctor, a patient. So a pharmacist, they have the certificates to say they are allowed to keep, and a doctor the same way. The patient has a valid prescription that has been given by a doc. In terms of dispensing it, in at a doctor's clinic and a pharmacist, only the doctor in charge can dispense it. There is no need of co-signing. In hospitals, because there is administration by the nurses who are not legally allowed to keep, they have to co-sign on behalf of the doc or the pharmacist. So you can walk into a pharmacy today with a legal prescription. If the pharmacist interprets it, confirms with the doc, they can give you injectable controlled medicine for further use. And I said the challenge that is there is we don't have a unified database. So you can actually get 10 prescriptions, go pharmacy to pharmacy, and buy the same medication.
Okay. I think I was going to say, why don't you have a unified database? But that's a different thing. Can somebody who is pregnant then take this specific drug?